Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain The Boy with a Camera for a Face, which is a short film that tells about the life of a boy who was born with a camera instead of a head. Although at first his parents and the medical team who helped deliver his mother seemed confused by the unusual condition experienced by the boy, but gradually, they began to understand the boy's condition and tried to treat the boy like children in general. What life lessons can be learned from this film? Let's find out in The Boy with a Camera for a Face. The film begins by showing a television that only displays noise, where we will then be drawn into the world that is inside the television. The scene then switches and shows the atmosphere of the labor process of a woman trying to give birth to her baby, normally with the help of the medical team at a hospital. While the woman was struggling to give birth to her baby, her husband seemed to be ready with his camera, intending to capture the moment of their baby's birth for memories for the child later. However, how shocked the husband and wife were when they found out that boy is born with a camera instead of a head like humans in general. Everyone seemed confused to see the unusual condition of the baby boy who had just been born. Like a camera, the baby boy begins to record everything he sees from the moment it comes out of his mother's womb. The doctors who saw the incident were trying to find out what really happened to the baby. Previously, doctors always checked the baby boy's growth and development while still in his mother's womb through ultrasound, but they never found any abnormalities such as a head that resembles a camera. Doctors then tried to match the baby boy's DNA with his parents, and the results were very accurate, indicating that the baby boy was indeed a human, despite being born with an unusual condition. At first, the husband suspected that his wife had an affair with one of his cameras. However, the man soon realized his stupidity, because after all, the camera was an inanimate object, and the baby boy was biologically proven to be his biological son, which he could not deny the fact. A few hours later, the doctor told the parents that if they wanted the baby boy alive, then they had to insert a blank tape into the slot on the back of the boy's camera and replace it every day, so that the boy doesn't have heart failure. The blank tape indicated that the boy would record all the events that had happened throughout his life, even though he didn't want that. After confirming that the mother and baby were in good health, the doctor then allowed them to go home. Even though their son has a unique and unusual condition, the husband and wife couple try to accept their son's condition, treat the boy like normal children, and devote all their attention and affection to the son they named Billy. Over time, Billy has now grown into a boy who is healthy, although he has a unique head shaped like a camera. Billy began to take photos and sometimes became a cameraman to capture happy moments with his parents, when his father had trouble taking photos of the three of them. Every day, his parents never forget to take out the old tape from the slot behind the camera and replace it with a blank tape that will record all the events that happened to him the next day. They then stored Billy's old tapes in a special cupboard and arranged them regularly. At first, they were very happy because with the existence of these tapes, they hoped that Billy could remember all the events that had happened to him someday. However, after several years had passed, the husband and wife finally realized that the cupboard was starting to fill with tapes that were stacked high, and most likely, neither Billy nor his parents had enough free time to watch all the tapes. Long story short, Billy is now starting to grow into a 6-year-old boy and starting school. Billy actually also has feelings of fear, anger, anxiety, pleasure, panic, and so on. However, Billy has a hard time expressing all his feelings because he has a camera-shaped face that can't show any expression. Unfortunately, having an unusual camera-shaped face makes Billy often ostracized by his friends, and often bullied by some naughty boys. They told Billy that the camera-like shape of his head looked really annoying to them. It seems the boys have fallen for the stereotype of a cameraman, who always survives in every movie they watch. When he was at home, his mother noticed a change in Billy's demeanor, which seemed often distant and aloof. The woman then took the initiative to watch one of Billy's tapes from the previous days, where she finally found out that her son had been the victim of bullying at school by his friends. Billy's mother then went to the principal and urged the man to punish the students who had bullied Billy. The three boys can't deny the abuse they did to Billy, because all their actions were recorded by Billy's camera and stored in Billy's memory tape. Since then, the three boys finally stopped bullying Billy and tried to bully other kids. But it seems they haven't realized that wherever Billy is, and points the camera, all the events he sees will be automatically recorded by Billy's camera. Billy's mother again reported the incident to the principal, in the hope that no more children would become bullied like Billy. The principal then summoned the three naughty students and punished them severely, so that the three were deterred and decided not to bully other people and focus on studying at school. After that, Billy is now starting to adapt and socialize with the people around him, and make friends with several people, even though they think that Billy is just an ordinary cameraman. When he was a teenager, Billy met a girl named Jenny, who seemed interested in Billy's uniqueness and expressed her feelings directly. Immediately, Billy felt very happy, because there was a beautiful girl who liked his strange self. Without thinking, Billy accepted Jenny's feelings and started dating the beautiful girl. Billy and Jenny then go on a date at a restaurant, where they chat with each other and tell stories about each other's lives. But when they were about to chat, Jenny finally realized that Billy had been recording all the events he had seen, and assumed that Billy was a young man who liked to do perverts. Jenny also kicked Billy out of her room, even though Billy had tried to persuade the girl that he would use the camera lens cap. After that incident, Billy and Jenny never had contact again, and the girl even distanced herself from Billy. This then makes Billy feel sad and disappointed because he was not born like a human in general. Billy also thought that he might never find true love with his unusual head condition. Over time, Billy, who was once a young man who likes to socialize and has many friends, suddenly turns into a gloomy and often aloof. Billy's life is getting worse when he is not allowed to enter the cinema, and is prohibited from watching because it is considered copyright infringement. Billy also feels down and depressed with the condition of his head that resembles a camera, where Billy always curses his condition. Billy then decided to lock himself in the house, because he didn't know what to do anymore. One day, Billy felt bored because he was at home all the time, then decided to go out and take a walk for a while. On the way, Billy met a girl named Sophie, who looked a little strange because the girl's face was blurred, even though Billy had used the autofocus feature on his camera. Billy had no idea what had happened to the lens, and why only the girl's face was blurred. However, Billy didn't want to make too much of a fuss about it because Sophie was very kind and friendly to him, so they quickly became friends. Not long after, Billy and Sophie's relationship grew closer, so they decided to become lovers. Billy and Sophie seem to love each other, and Sophie seems to have accepted Billy as he is with his unusual head condition. Long story short, when the lovers were walking in the park, they were approached by a man named Andrew, who works as a TV producer. Andrew expressed his desire to make a reality television series which focuses on the personal life of Billy. At first, Billy was hesitant because he felt his life was very monotonous and did not experience events that were interesting enough to be shared with the public. However, Andrew reassured him by saying that out there, many people still love reality shows that feature other people's private lives. Andrew then offers Billy a very large amount of money to persuade Billy, so Billy could not refuse the offer. Unexpectedly, the reality show starring Billy turned out to be very successful and got a very high rating, so that Billy's popularity as a celebrity skyrocketed and had many fans from all over the world. Because of his success, Billy was finally able to buy a luxurious and magnificent house, where he and Sophie later lived together. One day, Billy proposed to Sophie, which was also broadcast around the world through a reality show, and made Billy more famous and the rating of the show increased. Sometime after the proposal, Billy and Sophie finally got married with happy feelings, which were not only felt by the bride and groom, but also people around the world who watched the wedding from the small screen. After that, Billy and Sophie began their married life, which will always be witnessed by viewers of the reality show around the world. However, not long after, something strange happened when everyone who watched Billy's reality show suddenly turned into TV zombies who can't leave their house and stop doing all the activities they used to do, just for the sake of watching a reality show featuring Billy's entire life in real time. This then makes Billy feel sad and frustrated because all this time, he just wants to live a normal life like humans in general. When Billy and Sophie begin to feel bored and lonely, they both decide to return to Billy's parents' house, where there are many memories of Billy's childhood recorded on tape neatly arranged in the cupboard. Billy then remembered his parents who had always cared for and loved him as he was, even though his condition was different from other children in general. Billy did not even think that he could become a famous star who has many fans in the world, and a reality show that broadcasts his life in real time. When Billy approached Sophie, who was sitting on the sofa, how surprised Billy was when he found out that Sophie had also turned into a TV zombie, just like the people who watched the reality show. Billy also tried to resuscitate his wife, but his efforts were fruitless. After that, Billy felt even more down and lonely, so he decided to stop the reality show in order to save everyone who turned into TV zombies, including his wife. Billy then took some memory tapes from his childhood, then watched them on television while soaking in a bathtub filled with water. Everyone who watched the tape in Billy's childhood memory tape seemed so curious about what happened to Billy when he was a child. But, not long after, Billy suddenly put his TV into a bathtub filled with water, which then made Billy die of electric shock. Billy's death also ends the reality show that shows Billy's life in real time and makes everyone aware that they have been addicted to watching other people's personal life reality shows. After that, everyone returned to their normal activities, and people's lives began to return to normal. However, Sophie looks so sad and devastated by the death of Billy, the man she loves, who chose to end his life in order to save her and also everyone who watched his reality show around the world. Even so, Sophie also feels relieved and happy because Billy has done a good deed for mankind, who may have only seen Billy as a TV personality and never really wanted to fully understand Billy and accept Billy's condition as it is. The film ends by showing a father setting up his camera to take a picture with his two children, and without realizing it, we are all pulled out of the world in the television that features noise at the beginning of the film. Despite having a camera for a face, the protagonist lives life like many others, dealing with bullies, parents, and even falling in love. But when his camera face recordings are made public, he finds himself alone in a world where everyone else is captivated by watching his life unfold in real time. The film addresses real issues about our society's obsession with social media and the desire to live vicariously through the lenses of the others. How does constant surveillance affect our world now, and how will it affect the future? However, the most important question is, who are we? The camera-faced protagonist who captures every moment of our lives, or the reality show viewers who are deeply interested in other people's personal lives, or maybe both?